I want to talk Tesla now with our guest host this morning, Rick Rieder of BlackRock. How are you feeling these days?
I mean, I talk too much about Tesla. I mean, I think we could talk a lot about. I think it's a great company, and we could talk a lot about the dynamics around, how they manage cash and how they run the business. Listen, what they are doing. I mean, I did on a show years ago. We talked about electric vehicles relative to a combustion engine. It's a more efficient engine. You see every company now shifting that way. The ability to produce an efficient engine look at what's happening, and we could debate the company for as long as you want. What's happening to the energy market? You look at different companies in energy. Look what's happening to the auto market. What's happening? The world is shifting so darn quickly because this evolution of technology, which I think the company has been ahead of, is now bringing the rest of the industry and the ramifications.
But what about Tesla itself?
So listen, I think you have to look at how many vehicles. You look at the last earnings report, and I tend not to speak about individual companies, but look at the last earnings report and how many cars they're selling. The world is going to change. We think about all the different things that you brought a low-cost vehicle. You think about where autonomous is going.
But I think the issue is.
So what is a car? What is a car going
it all
forward?
Changes.
It's a delivery of services.
But sure, but here's the issue that I wonder. If everybody else is going to be doing this, I think he's 100%. Done an enormous amount of good because he's fundamentally changed the entire game.
Right.
But that game could play against him at some point.
So yes and no. And so why do you open source the technology? If you produce more efficient battery and you look at supercharger networks, if you've actually put in place the infrastructure,
right,
and you're ahead when you take speed and you take range, you're in a pretty good position and that others can come on board. And what you do is you grow the market for what is battery and power generation, which I think is really powerful going forward. Again, we could debate how do they run the company, how they run the business, but it's pretty powerful in terms of what they're doing for the broader energy transportation vehicles.
And you don't so we were looking at Ford has a new Mustang SUV out that's going to be an electronic vehicle. I mean,
think about how extraordinary that is.
It's an amazing thing.
Think about what a Mustang.
And they're doing that as a function of him.
100%. But why is that? So it's good for the industry. By the way, it's good for climate. It's good. Good.
These are all fabulous things. The question is whether it's good for Tesla.
So if you take and you track over time the auto industry, and you go back a ways, and markets like to focus on the last week, although it's up doubled, I think, in the last few months. If you track what's the auto industry relative to this company, the track record is okay.
Right. I want to get your thoughts on this as well, because we have some news this morning on Louis Bacon. I don't know if you saw this. Longtime trader and hedge fund manager Louis Bacon is reportedly planning to shutter his firm and return capital to investors. Bacon founding More Capital in 1989 with $25,000 inheritance from his mother. He's considered one of the most successful traders of his era. Returns over the last decade have been lower, with a reported decline of almost 6% for one fund in 2018. And in some ways, you look at a day like today, Schwab merging with TD Ameritrade, or at least in talks to do so, and then something like that, he's closing down. It's sort of very representative of where we really are.
So I think so. First of all, he's one of the most extraordinary investors, traders of our time. I mean, there's something really interesting, and Louis, I think him and his firm, I think, can make money in any market. That being said, the information dissemination in the world has definitely leveled the playing field to some extent, and it does make it tougher. I don't know Louis's decision.
It's made your job that much harder.
It makes my job, and this part of what we talked about earlier, analytics, data assimilation, how you run efficient portfolio construction is I think, the winner today. Picking individual equities, we think we can get that more right than wrong. But can you build efficient portfolios for clients? Can you run it? Can you use the data? And can you use artificial intelligence efficiently in your model? And I think the world is going to.
And doesn't that speak, though, to this potential transaction with Schwab and TD Ameritrade?
I think to some extent it does. I think you've got to scale resources and how you do it and how you operate that over time. Yeah, 100%. Markets, information flow more efficient.